Hello, my name is Dr. Jamie, and today I'm going to tell you about the Veloce 6-place pressurized twin that does 300 knots for 750K, or if you build yourself, has the lowest build time of any plane even closely related to these specs. So let's get started and jump right in and tell you some of those amazing specs. So we got a 270 knot cruise at 25,000 feet on 24 gallons an hour with the Veloce engine. We can do a max cruise with some more fuel at 300 knots. And we got a 400 knot cruise if you put our turboprop on. We'll talk more about that later. 6.7 pressure differential in the cabin. You got 1900 nautical mile range at 220 knots. You go a little bit faster and you get the extended tanks, and you can actually get 1500 nautical miles at 300 knots of range. That means you can actually go transatlantic. The climb rate is 2,800 feet a minute on 2 engines, and it's still predicted to be about 900 feet a minute on 1 engine. So with some positive rudder authority, about 30% left. So it should be really, really awesome. 1,800 pounds of useful load. That can be upped as well, but probably not in the first planes. We got a 52-inch wide cabin, so we're wider than a Cirrus, but a little bit smaller than a Vision Jet, but about the same size as a Piper Malibu if you've ever been in one, but we're a little bit bigger than a Piper Malibu. We're predicting a 72 knot stall speed, takeoff distance of about 1,100 feet, same with the landing distance. So all really good specs. We've done that in comparison to a number of different things, computer simulations, all that different things. But the big one for people to really understand for themselves why those numbers are very real is if you compare us to the Evolution. The Evolution is about the same size. It's about the same wing area. They're a little bit bigger. It's a similar empty weight and gross weights. We're a little bit lighter. We got about the same horsepower range. Our cabin offers a little bit bigger space, but we got a much pointier nose to get there. And so if they're doing 300 knots on 750 horsepower, well, we should easily be able to get around 300 knots on 750 horsepower as well, right? Roughly what it's coming down to. So we got our first engine with a turbo on the dyno, and we're getting about that 375. So that means we're going to have 750 horsepower total with just the turbo V6s. So in the 800, which is something that we also have, we have the option to do V8s as well, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what makes me different than everyone else who's ever tried to make a plane and failed, because most people fail miserably when they try to make a plane, is that I've hired an engineer who's already got 14 other planes flying that he's designed. I've got builders and experts and people who come in and work with me to help me to make sure that I'm doing it right and check up on my work and see if I'm missing something or something that I just don't know that I don't know. And me as the leadership, meaning I'm just going to make it work. I've got too much money stuck into it now, too much time stuck into it now, that there's no way that I'm just not going to make this work. And if you've been following me for a while and you're watching this as an update, you know, yeah, I just keep moving forward, right? And if you want, you can go back and look at all the different videos and stuff, and I just keep moving forward no matter what happens. And there's been a lot of stuff that happens. So what makes us different some more is, again, I'm not fixated on one specific thing like so many people. I just want to do what's going to be a fast pressurized plane, right? I change and I adapt things, and I'm not set in anything specific. And I'm looking at multiple different engine options, turboprops, the Veloce. I've got 2 TIO 520s that I can use as a backup if the Veloces just absolutely aren't working, even though we got one of them flying and the second one going up soon. So we're kind of proving the engine already as well. So it's just, you know, it really is understanding that I don't know. I'm not the expert in planes, so I hire the people smarter than me in planes and use their advice and actually listen to them to make sure that I'm doing things that are safe. So that's how you know I'm going to succeed. Plus my background, right? I was a holistic doctor and I did really well, sold my practice because people didn't want to change their lives to be healthy. This was back in 2008, drove me nuts. So I sold my practice. I went into manufacturing medical equipment, helped over 500 doctors with my equipment and practice, help more patients and make more money. I got over 100 video testimonials on YouTube about me from doctors in private practice, verifiable. Google their names, you'll see their practices, right? So I've been around for a while. You can see my medical license is in Illinois. I no longer am current, but you can see that it was there. And now Veloce planes. So that's what I do. I'm an entrepreneur and I just make things work. I figure out, I problem solve, I hire expert advice, I listen to them, and I make things work. That's what I do, right? That's how I got to where I got, right? So when I started this off, I had a turbo Cirrus and it wasn't fast enough. That was in 2014. I bought 879 Sierra Romeo and it didn't get me where I wanted to go fast enough. And so I said, after about 2 years, I need a faster plane. I need like 300 knots to really beat the commercial airlines if I count TSA security and baggage claim after. And I looked at the price of 300 knot planes and went, that's ridiculous, right? So I looked at Lancer 4Ps. I looked at the Evolution. I looked at old Mitsubishis that burn tons of gas, right? And I said that, oh my gosh, I can build a plane for these prices. So I am, and I am, right? I'm actually going to come in for a lot less money than what it would have cost me to buy a new Evolution. And now I can actually sell kits to other people who are also interested, right? So all of this is about me having a faster plane. And so I'm building myself a faster plane. So it's taken me longer than I expected, but you know, life happens and you live and you learn, and there you go. So that's where I'm at. That's how I got into this. And I thought, you know what? The Vision Jet is a great plane. So let's make something that's very similar to it. And so that's what I did, right? The 600 plane is very similar to the Vision Jet. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit slower, but it's 1/5 the purchase price and it's 1/3 the operating cost per hour. So it's a huge price savings for just a little bit, you know, not quite as much. So it's a great plane in that respect. The Piper Meridian is also very similar. We're actually faster. We actually cost less to buy and we actually cost less to operate, and we're a little bit bigger. So, you know, depending on what you're looking at, depending on the price tags you're already looking for, I actually got 2 different people who own Piper Meridians currently looking to get my plane. When they get my plane, they plan on selling their Piper Meridian. So what do we have available? All right, at the time of recording this, feel free to check the website. If it's a little bit later than October 2025, we might have some different specials, pricing, positions that are open. But anyway, $450K is your cost if you build it all entirely yourself. Right, so that'd be all the engines, the avionics, everything. If you want to do our Builder Assist program, about $750K right now at the time of the recording this. I got 19 deposits already on the 600 plane. I've got about 25 people who are saying that when the prototype flies, they will buy. I've got over 1,000 people who are seriously interested and said, when the prototype flies, let me know. I'm really interested. Right, so as soon as that prototype flies here in a few months, it's going to be hands down game over winner, and we're going to be full speed forward with tons of orders and tons of money to make sure that everything happens in that way. So right now I got position 16 available. It is $50K to get that position. You'll have your build assist plane in about 3 years. If you want position number 26, it's only $25K deposit, and I do these deposits on credit cards. So again, let's say I'm full of hot air and I never finish. Well, guess what? You can get your money back on a credit card up to 60 days beyond the contract delivery date that you signed in order to pay for it. So that means up until 36 months, you can still get your money back from your credit card. Don't believe me? Call them up and ask. That's what it is. That's how that's part of the things that they market and advertise is, oh, you know, you use us and your money's safe, right? From fraud. So there you go. That's what it is that we have. That's what's available. That's what I do. I mentioned briefly a moment ago about the 800, which is an 8 to 9 person one. We're going to be extending the fuselage, making it a little bit bigger and putting a lifting surface on the front, like the Piaggio Avante. And when we put 2 of the V8 Aerovolares on it, we should get 333 knots of cruise speed on just over 40 gallons an hour of car gas or avgas. It can mix either one. So that'll be pretty awesome. And we are building a jet turboprop. That's 575 horsepower that can be used in the pusher configuration. And with that engine, we should be able to hit 400 knots in the Veloce 800. So that'll push it up and over bigger and better and faster than a Vision Jet for less costs, less operating costs, and overall better value. So those are coming up. I'll talk about those in a moment here. But why are we going to make it? Well, if you haven't, if you don't know that now, or I hate to go back and watch any of my millions of videos, but it's basically because of me. Like I've got a proven track record getting FDA clearances on machines, getting stuff done. You know, I just make it happen, right? My friends will tell you, people who know me, my past business people will just tell you, I just make stuff happen, right? I'm a good problem solver. I'm not afraid to work. I grew up on a farm and I know what hard work is, and I'm willing to do it to make it work, right? So I just don't quit. That's the basics of it. So I got a wonderful team as well that's going to help me make sure of that. But the Aerovolare engine is one of them that we're going to use. It's half the price of brand new Lycomings or Continentals with more power to weight ratio than any Lycoming or Continental in the price range. So that's why I'm more than likely going to use this. We got one of these turbo engines going up. We got a naturally aspirated one already flying, proven it works. The redrive is a 30-year-old redrive and hundreds of airplanes, thousands of airboats. It's behind engines with 1,000 horsepower and airboats. And so it's already proven. The engines, the LT-based engine, it's proven in generators, it's proven in trucks, it's proven in forklifts, it's proven in boats, right? GM has a video of this engine block running at redline under load for days, right? For days at a time, and it still didn't fail. So that's why I chose all the components that I did, is to make sure that it was going to be a reliable aircraft engine. And now on the Veloce 600, the nice thing about it is you got two of them, right? With one of them out, guess what? You still have positive climb, you still have rudder authority. So big deal if one fails versus a single engine. It's more of a big deal if one fails, right? Plus the parachute, plus the auto land. All right, so I think it's going to be a huge hit of a combination. And if you want, you see, there's one of the planes that we actually got it flying around in right now, building flight time hours on it. And we got the turbo one that's going to be going up really quickly. We got it on the dyno doing some more braking and testing to make sure that there's absolutely no bugs in it before we put it on another plane that's already flown and ready to go as well. So now, what do we also have? That engine, it's a FADEC-like engine, right? Single lever, the computer does everything else, right? And I already talked about how many safety features and proven is in those engines and those redrives already, right? And that's basically what this is saying, right? So it really is something that is quite phenomenally proven and sound already. So if you don't like the Aerovolare though, that's okay. You can use a Fly Adept out of South America. You can use a TIO 540 Lycoming if you want. You can use a TSIO 550 if you want. You can use, any other certified gas diesel engine you really want. There is a weight envelope that you have to be within, so you can't necessarily use anything, but we can make it work with most anything, or the turboprop engine, or you can use actual turbo jet engines, right? Somebody asked me multiple times about putting two Vision Jet engines onto one of the 600s or 800s, and we can totally do that as well. So what is this turboprop engine that I've been talking about? Well, there you can kind of see a picture of it on the top. We've got most of the internals designed. It's actually a twin compressor design. So if you don't know much about jet engines, it's basically, think of it like a twin turbo, right? And right now there are no turboprops that have a twin turbine on them. So this will be one of the first. I paid somebody to do a turboprop engine specifically for me and the 600 and 800 airplane, because there isn't any good options. And he's built other jet engines before that are out there flying in other airplanes. And so we kind of came together and said, hey, this is what I need. I need a 575 horsepower turboprop in a pusher configuration that's going to be more efficient than anyone out there, and hybrid system flexibility. So within our gearbox, we are going to be putting an electric engine that at taxi and takeoff, you can use the electric engine. And when you're taking off and climbing out, for not much weight penalty of one battery, you can get like 4,000 feet, 5,000 feet a minute of climb out with that electric engine. And then it turns into a generator / alternator when you shut down the power to it. And now it powers back up the batteries that ran it and the batteries in the plane and keeps everything in the plane running. So it's going to be a phenomenal little engine, and we can derate the power of this thing down to about 300 horsepower. So that's planned as well for in the future, but great little engine. And we're doing it because no one else is, right? So if you want to do a build assist right now, we're in North Carolina. for a build assist, but we're looking at doing locations in Wisconsin and Florida and Missouri and California. So the only one that's for sure going to be happening is in Wisconsin, but probably the one in Florida is going to be happening as well, for sure as well. So anyway, lots of different options for people. We have the composite factory is going to stay in North Carolina, though. We already got multiple people trained in doing composites and adding more daily to start building up for when we're going to actually have a lot of more orders we have to fulfill because the prototype's flying. So here's some different options of the ranges depending on the speeds that you're going, the percent power that you have, the altitudes that you're at. But you'll see that you can actually do three large ranges, right, at different speeds. And the best number, which is the one I said earlier, right? You can actually go 300 knots for 1,500 nautical miles with the extended range tank. So all of these, if you get the extended range tanks, which is going to use up some useful load, but you can do it, you're going to increase these numbers as well. So wing loading and power loading, right? So again, the more horsepower you have for the least amount of pounds, the better off you are. And that's why you can see people, well, how are you go so fast if you're just like other twins? We're not like other twins. Other twins are still all made out of metal, right? And that's why the power to wing loading is more in other planes that are slower, right? And the wing loading, I said power to weight loading, right? But the wing loading, right, you'll see compared to other twins, Beechcraft Duke, a very famous common one, we're less than it, right? Cirrus SR22, we're a little bit more than it, but not a whole bunch. All right, that's why we think our stall speeds are really going to be down around 72 knots. So some basic dimensions, interior dimensions, depending on where you're sitting, where you're at, your headroom, your shoulder room, right? So again, if you want to see any of these, you can just hit pause. I'm not going to go through every single one, but it's way better than most every other plane out there. And it'll fit in any standard T-hanger space, unlike a lot of other twins out there. All right, that's the beauty of this, is if you got a standard T-hanger space that a Cirrus fits in, this is going to fit in as well. Right now, you have the ability to do any paint choice that you want. You just send us several pictures of the plane from multiple directions, and we got a local painter who's been working at a body shop for over 30 years doing custom paint jobs, and so he can pretty much just duplicate whatever you want. After a short while, we're going to start getting custom, we're going to be having paint schemes where you choose, like, this is what it is, and we can also do one solid color on the plane and then just wrap it so that you can change it whenever you want to, for a couple $1,000 just by redoing the wrap. So lots of options. Quality interior, we're doing 2 different colored leathers. You can do offset color stitching, double stitching on it if you want. We're going to be having the entire interior can be wrapped with leather. So we got local people and other people who are doing interiors for us as well. Right now, we have dine-in as the standard interior avionics. You can get Garmin if you want for an upgrade, because at the end of the day, when we install a dine-in panel versus when we install a Garmin panel, the dine-in panel is cheaper to have in the plane when it's all done. So that's why we have that standard. And if you want to pay a little bit more for the extra cost that costs us to put a Garmin in, then we can do that as well. So the pressurized system is going to be pretty dang cool. Dual redundancy, we're going to have 2 independent superchargers on the engines themselves. We're not using air from the actual turbos. And so if any one of the engines goes out, it's still going to pressurize to about 5 PSI. So there's not going to be a sudden cabin depressurization. It'll be a little bit of a drop, kind of, quickish, but it'll be electronic control of the flow out of the cabin and safety valves for over and under pressure as well. So we've done over 600 flight simulations. We've done about 30 different FEA analysis of the plane under different conditions and loadings and things like that for the engines, and all the things that we need to FEA test to make sure that it actually is going to do what it's supposed to be doing with a 1.5 safety margin, at least in the computer, and then we'll start testing it in real life. So as of October, about 45 months into this, but I've only 18 months into this with me as a direct leadership. I had some partners that didn't go so well. So 18 months ago, I took it over fully. And now I'm doing a pretty good job finishing it. I haven't done much since Sun and Fun, because at Sun and Fun, I kind of really got to the point where I said, oh, you know what? Now I really think I have an idea of how long it's going to take to finish stuff. And so what I did was in April of 2025, I pivoted and I started really focusing on all the other planes that I had orders with people, right? I was not focusing on those planes as much as I could have, because I was also doing the 600. And so I went to just focusing on those planes in April, because I realized that, wow, this is going to take a little bit longer than I thought to get the 600 flying. So I started delivering those. So in the next couple months, I'll have almost all of those kits out the door that were purchased and people want deliveries on them, and I'll be caught up and I'll be on time with all the other planes that I've ordered, and I will be focusing more on the 600 then. So that's what I decided to do, and I think it's going pretty well. Like I said, we got most of the planes getting really close to going out the door, so we'll be back on the 600 shortly, spending a lot more time on it. So optional equipment, you can get a parachute on it, you can get de-ice on it, you can get electric air conditioning, electric heat, landing gear, retractable or fixed, your choice. All right, so again, most of the options that anybody else would put on their planes that are $2-3 million, we put on ours as well. So, and even some extra ones that they don't put on, right? So a couple comparisons for you. Again, I'm not going to go through all these line by line. If you want to see any one specific, you can just hit pause on the video. You can go to our website. You can see all these comparisons on our website and comparing side by side. All of the specs, every single one of them for so many different planes you might be thinking about buying, are on our website, and every single one, not just a few that I put in here. But at the end of the day, you'll see that pretty much, again, it's the same thing as most of my planes, right? Everyone thinks, oh, you're such a good salesman, but really, no, I just sell the best product. And I've done that my entire life, right? It's so easy to sell the best product because it's the best product, right? And it's not just a sales pitch. It really is true. Look at the specs, look at the numbers, right? So any one of these planes that might cost, a lot more money, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the amount of money as mine, they might have some specs that are better than mine, but they're not going to have all the specs better than mine. And I'm still going to have pretty decent number of specs that are better than theirs. Right. So whether that's the Piaggio, the Baron, the Evolution, the Vision Jet, right? Now we go and compare it to the Veloce 800, and all of a sudden now you start seeing that, wow, most of my specs are better than even the big, $5 million price tag planes, right? So takeoff, climb rate, single engine operation, all that thing. Now you put the turboprops, right? The jet engine turboprops that we're having made for this specific plane. And now we beat almost every plane in every spec again, right? It's just what happened. So some more comparisons as far as empty weight, useful load, takeoff, cabin width, length, height, right? So again, our plane will fit in a standard T-hanger. Most of these other planes won't. Now, some of them will, right? But not all of them. And so, it's a little bit of a trade-off of what do you really want? What do you really need? What's most important to you, right? But at the end of the day, most of the specs for my plane are better than most other planes that are kind of in this category or class. So is it really possible with these engines? Yeah, it really is. You just look at the Evolution. We can produce all those numbers like the Evolution because we're basically very similar size, shape, and power as the Evolution, right? Is the build times realistic? We don't really know, but we think so, right? We've built a number of planes now and really think it's going to be about 1,500 hours if you build yourself. One of the big differences is the Lancer takes about 2,000 hours. And as just one example, the 4P, the door takes 200 hours to build on a Lancer 4P because it's such a complicated pressurized door. Well, our door goes in and up and over the inside of the plane, kind of like a minivan does on the outside, but we do it on the inside. So it's fully pushing out against the fuselage. So it's a super easy door, a little handle and some latches. That's it. Right. So that right there, there's 200 hours, right? Our landing gear is much simpler than Lancers, right? So on and on and on. Yes, we really do think it's realistic. The weight targets, our prototype's probably going to be a little bit heavy. We know exactly what mistakes we made. We know exactly where we had to add extra FR4, extra layers, how we had to change things and add more resin, right? So But we really do believe that the empty weights are going to be right around 2,200, 2,400 pounds. So if we don't meet the specs, that's okay. You can get your money back, right? If you still like the specs, even though we didn't meet them, you can still keep your plane, right? But I think we're going to meet them. So, all this, what if we never finish? Well, then you get your deposit back on your credit card up to 60 days past your end of your contract. But I'm going to finish, right? The only way for me to get my money back out right now is to finish. And so the only way for me to get my plane that I wanted when I sold my Cirrus is to finish, right? And so that's just what I do. I just find a way to make it happen, right? Can the piston engines actually maintain the power? Absolutely they can, right? They had piston engines that were turbocharged back in World War II that went up to 35,000 feet. So it's not necessarily easy or simple if you're going up to 35, but up to 25, it's relatively easy. Almost every Lycoming and Continental turbocharged engine has a ceiling of 25,000 feet because they easily can get up to 25,000 feet. So that shouldn't be an issue for us at all. Now, what we're hoping is we can actually get up to like 28,000 feet and we gain an extra 5 or 10 knots from 25 to 28 because the air starts really dropping off quicker and how thin it gets between the 25 to 28. So additional questions. What about insurance, right? In the beginning, you're not going to get full coverage insurance. You're only going to be able to get liability. Now, we're working on programs and training programs and FITS programs with the FAA to try and increase the ability to get insurance sooner. But until there's 20 or 25 of them flying, there's probably just not going to be any full coverage insurance on them. That's just the way it's going to be. So the build center is in Whiteville, North Carolina. We also have one in Wisconsin, and we probably are going to have one in Florida. And also we're looking to put one out on the West Coast as well. So by the time you actually get around to building yours, we'll probably have those. But the maximum indicated airspeed, a lot of people ask me about that, is 195 indicated airspeed right now. And so at 25,000 feet, 195 knots indicated is the 300 knots of flying speed. So we shouldn't have issues, but that's like a safe engineering number that we gave it to start. But when we do actual flight testing, we're hoping to increase that number a lot to like 250. But until we actually get it flying, it's super difficult to actually predict. So we're just doing it on the safe side for now. Under promise, over deliver, right? That's what my motto is ever since I was a server. You can do it fully in carbon fiber if you want. Right now, the tail is in carbon fiber and the fuselage and wings are mostly in fiberglass, but we can do all those in carbon fiber, get you a couple extra 100 pounds of useful load if you want. And the layup work is actually not that hard. We've been doing it for a while now, so we can get all that done as well. So right now, at the time of recording of this, we got position number 16. It's available for $50K deposit. You can build it yourself. The kit is $250K, or you can have us do a build assist for $750K with you, where you come into the shop and help us actually build. Position number 26 is $25K deposit. Again, these deposits you can pay on credit card, so you know you're protected. And the kit's $250, or you can do the build assist again for $750. But it's going to be longer before you get that kit because it's a further position down. So that's what we have available right now. Feel free to check out the website if it's been a while since October 2025 and see what's available or what's left. So there's our contact information. So if you're interested, check out the website for all the specials, the pricing, the positions that are available, how long it's going to take to get them. And if you're interested, feel free to ask us for an agreement. We can send that to you. It'll list all the pricing, the payment schedule specifically. It'll tell you what options are included, what options are extra, and it'll give you everything you need to know about, all right, do I really want to do this or not, right? Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Go to the website, veloceplanes.com/600. Come visit us in person. You want to come visit us in Whiteville, North Carolina? We're here most days, 5 days a week, sometimes 6, 7 days a week if I'm working the weekends, which I often do until the 600 flies. And we can also do a video tour if you want to do FaceTime or Zoom and meet me, see the shop, see the 600 without having to travel here. We can do that as well. So if you're ready to join the aviation revolution, we're finally doing to pressurized twin planes, what Cirrus did to the single engine market 35 years ago, you've come to the right place, right? We're just it's really simple. Like, why are we so great? We are literally just making the first pressurized composite twin airplane, and we're putting a parachute on it. That's it, right? Nobody's done that in 40 years. You got the Diamond, you got the Velocity, but they're not pressurized. They don't have big engines. They're not fast, right? Everyone's still doing it the old way. Well, we're not. That's what I mean by ready to join the aviation revolution. Get a 600, get an 800, and let's put one of these in your hangar.